Hey there. Long time no see. How's life treating you?
Hey, life's a roller coaster, you know. Work's been keeping me on my toes lately. Speaking of which, have you ever thought about how much time we spend at the office?
Oh, absolutely. It feels like our jobs dictate our lives sometimes. The whole concept of duty time has been on my mind a lot lately. How do you manage it?
Well, it's a constant juggling act, isn't it? Balancing the demands of the job with personal time can be tricky. But lately, I've been trying to find a sweet spot.
I hear you. It's like, on one hand, you want to be a dedicated employee, but on the other hand, you don't want work to consume your entire life.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance. I've been experimenting with different strategies, like setting strict boundaries for when work ends and personal time begins.
Boundaries are crucial. But sometimes, work just spills over. Do you ever find it hard to disconnect?
Oh, absolutely. The line between work and personal life is becoming blurrier, especially with technology making us accessible around the clock. It's like the workday never really ends.
It's crazy how emails and messages can follow you home. I've started turning off work notifications after a certain hour. It's helped a bit, but there's always that fear of missing out on something important.
I totally get that fear. It's like we're conditioned to be constantly available. But you know what they say, you can't pour from an empty cup. Taking care of ourselves is essential.
True that. But then, there's this unspoken pressure at the office. You see your colleagues burning the midnight oil, and suddenly you feel guilty for leaving on time.
That peer pressure is real. It's like we're in this silent competition to prove who's the most dedicated. But in the end, it's not about the quantity of hours you put in. It's about the quality of work.
I wish everyone at the office understood that. It's frustrating when the focus is on time spent rather than results achieved. How do you deal with that?
Communication is key. I've started openly discussing my boundaries with my team. I make it clear that I value work-life balance and encourage them to do the same. It's a small step, but it helps change the culture gradually.
That's a smart move. It's about setting expectations early on. But what about those days when the workload is just insane? How do you handle the pressure?
Those days are challenging. I've learned to prioritize tasks and communicate with my team about what's realistic to accomplish in a given time frame. And if it's too much, I'm not afraid to speak up and ask for help.
Asking for help is a skill in itself. I struggled with that sometimes, feeling like I need to prove I can handle everything on my own.
I used to feel the same way. But then I realized that asking for help doesn't make you weak, it makes you smart. We're all in this together, and teamwork makes the dream work.
True words. It's refreshing to hear someone else navigating the same challenges. But what about the times when you're just not feeling productive? How do you kick yourself into gear?
The productivity slump. It happens to the best of us. I've found that taking short breaks, going for a walk, or even doing a quick workout can do wonders. It's all about finding what works for you.
I've started incorporating short breaks too. It's amazing how stepping away from the desk for a bit can recharge your brain. But then, there's this guilt that creeps in, like you're slacking off.
The guilt is a tough one to shake. But breaks are scientifically proven to improve focus and productivity. We need to remind ourselves that we're not robots. We're humans with limitations.
Preach. We're not machines. It's just difficult to change the ingrained mindset, isn't it? The 9-to-5 culture runs deep.
It does. But I think there's a shift happening. With more companies embracing flexible work hours and remote options, there is hope for a more balanced future.
Remote work has been a game changer for many. But it has its own challenges, like the struggle to set clear boundaries between work and home life.
True. The home office setup blurs those lines even more. I've started creating a designated workspace at home to simulate the office environment. It helps me mentally separate work from personal life.
That's a great idea. I might steal that one. So, looking ahead, do you think the concept of duty time will evolve in the future?
I believe it has to. As we become more aware of the importance of mental health and work-life balance, companies will have to adapt. The focus should shift from the number of hours worked to the impact and value of the work produced.
Amen to that. It's about time the corporate world catches up with the changing needs of employees. But until then, we'll just have to keep navigating this crazy dance between duty time and personal time.
Absolutely. It's a journey, not a destination. As long as we stay mindful of our well-being and keep advocating for a healthier work culture, we'll get there.
And so, the two friends continued their conversation, sharing insights and strategies for managing duty time in the office, hoping for a future where the emphasis shifts from quantity to quality, and where work and life coexist harmoniously.